Hey guys, what's up? It's Ray. Welcome to this new video. This video is a new series idea, the series 10 questions 2. As my first guest, I have Simon. Say hi.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for having me on your new series.
Thanks for coming here. Anyway, this is a new series. I'm trying to get some RuneScape related YouTubers, trying to ask them some questions you guys want to know as well, not just me. So thanks to Simon for being my first guest, and I hope to get many more of these. Should we start off with the first question?
Absolutely, I'm ready to go.
Okay. How would you describe your channel?
How to describe my channel, right? So, well, obviously, I guess we're different in the sense that there's two of us. So it's not just me. Obviously, there's me and James also that we both run the channel. Which I guess, in terms of RuneScape channels, there aren't that many that have that. So it is a dual channel. Is actually quite a unique thing. But in terms of the content we put out, I guess we are quite varied because there's a lot of channels that will either put out just guides or there's a lot of sort of PKing side of things. People do boss killing and player versus monster, things like that. But obviously, so there's like the informative kind of channels. There's channels that do let's plays, and there's quite a lot of new channels as well that start making sort of comedy sketches and things like that are really quite hilarious. So in terms of that, we're quite varied. Mainly, we started off in the guides area of things, but we've actually kind of progressed now to still making guides. We still like to make the guides, but also we try and just go for a bit more entertainment. We do what we really enjoy. So whatever we sort of feel like doing, we'll go for it, and we do quite a few sort of entertainment series, just have a bit of fun, and yeah, just generally have a good time playing RuneScape, which is the game we enjoy.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job with that. Anyway, question 2. How did the idea originate of having both of you on a channel? I mean, yeah, as you said, it isn't really done that much, so how did this originate?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question actually. A lot of people ask us that, and it was actually James started making a couple of videos on because it was James's brother made I think one video, and it kind of did quite well, and he did it just as a test, and then sort of James thought he'd give it a go, and he made a few videos on another channel that's long since been forgotten, and that was probably coming up on a year and a half ago, maybe nearly 2 years, and like I saw he was doing that, and it was really quite interesting. Like the first, I don't know whether you had the experience, but obviously the first video you upload to YouTube, it's quite a nervous thing, and you don't know how well it's going to be received and things
Yeah.
like that. And it was quite a success. Like he made a couple of guides, and they were going down quite well. And then sort of from that, we were talking together about whether we'd want to do like whether he said whether I'd want to make some videos, and then we didn't actually create the Runeshark videos channel to be just about sort of videos as a YouTube channel. It was designed to be made in conjunction with a fan site that we also wanted to create. So we were sort of practicing some website design. We made a fan site at the time that never really came into fruition. Like we had sort of a half-complete website running for a while, and it was people really enjoyed it, and we had some really good feedback on that. But to actually maintain it and complete it would have taken so much of our time that it wasn't realistic. Even with two people on the sort of the project, it wasn't going to happen because all the major fan sites out there have sort of literally hundreds of editors and content
Yeah.
writers and things. So that wasn't feasible. So that kind of from there we moved. Like there was always the two of us, and then from there we moved into the YouTube and just sort of solely focused on that. So like the reason why there's like two of us is literally because we're friends sort of in real life. We went to school together, and so when James was making the videos, like I was really intrigued by. I used to like watch his videos when he put them out, and I'd always have comments and things. And eventually, we just thought we'd try and make a couple together, and it just went from there. Really, just sort of take off because it's just something we enjoyed, and I know I'm always a big believer in just doing stuff that you enjoy.
Okay. Let's go on to the third question, and maybe like a little bit just for a confirmation. The RuneShark website is, well, not finished, but for done as it is. It's not going to be developed
Um,
anymore.
Right. Well, it was yes. It was a project that we started with. Obviously, we had the intention to finish it, but at the minute, well, basically, we had an issue. It was left up and online, half complete, just because people still wanted to see the content that we'd made. We had an issue with hosting on that site, on our web host, and we've been trying to resolve it for a couple of months, and they've really not been helpful at all. So I can't definitively say for sure. We haven't really spoken it like me and James haven't really talked about it that much recently, but I'd imagine that, yeah, we wouldn't really look at doing any more on our website in terms of the fan site. We were thinking about starting up a website, more of just a say like we could have a blog or something like we'd have our Twitter feed, and then sort of a feed for all our videos that have been posted, and just a general discussion area. Because we could put up some forums. We do have a forums package that we can set up, and it could be quite nice to have more of a community website rather than just a specific fan site. So we could still dabble in the website area, but as far as a fan site goes, I probably think that's not going to be one that would pursue to the end, just because of the sheer time it takes, which is quite overwhelming.
Yeah, it must take a lot of time to, of course, create at least one video every day, and most of the time even two. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I can imagine that also, having to finish a website is maybe a little bit too much. So,
like yeah.
yeah.
Well, if you can imagine, in one on the website we had, obviously you have stuff like, say, like a skill guide, for example. I remember a good example would be I made a guide for the summoning skill, and to write up all the text and stuff like that, and get all the pictures that I'd need, like to just collect all that took about 12 hours, and then just to sheer edit the like HTML code for the website and make it look pretty and get all the tables done, that took another 12 hours on top of that. So you're looking at literally 24 hours of work just for one page of a website, and there needs to be hundreds if not thousands of pages, and it's just like, so when you add all that up, you can see how the time just escalates, and it just doesn't become feasible as a project, which is kind of sad, because we've really enjoyed it, and we hope we do sort of get onto more online projects, website-based projects in the future.
No.
But maybe for now, we'll just have to focus on the YouTube, because I know that's going well and people enjoy our videos, which is always nice.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Question 3. Once you started, weren't you afraid that there was going to be a favorite, like either you or James, that someone was, well, people thought you were better or James was better?
Oh, right. That's quite an interesting one, really, because it wasn't something that we ever, especially not at the start, it wasn't anything we ever thought about, really. I guess we were both equally just, I say like nervous, but I guess it's just, you always, when you do a commentary or something, for the first time when you're a new YouTuber, it is quite a nerve-wracking moment, just because you don't know whether people will hate on you or whether you have some positive feedback. Because to start off with, we were making just sort of commentaries that were solo commentaries, and we both had really good feedback. Like, to start off with, a lot of people just thought we were the same person, and we had like, they'd be like, "Your voice has changed. Do you have a cold?" And it was pretty funny. But no, I think to start off with, because we were doing the solo commentaries, there wasn't really people didn't really sort of say anything like, "Oh, I like James's videos better," or "Simon's videos better," because we didn't have that many. We do see it around sometimes, and now we kind of just joke about it, because like when we see comments, obviously the Simon's a noob comment which goes around quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
But obviously don't take that to heart. Otherwise, I would live a very sad life, because I see it everywhere. But like there are always some comments, like someone just says like, "Simon's the best, he's like way better than James," or "James is the best, he's way better than Simon," and they'll have like a few thumbs up. And like sometimes if I see it as a top-rated comment, I'll mention it to James, and it'll be like, "Oh," but it's all just sort of like taken on the chin. Like, we know some people will have a preference to how, because like me and James make very different videos when we make them on our own. Sort of, there's different styles of editing, different styles of producing them, and so I can imagine some people probably would prefer our different videos. But yeah, honestly, we kind of just ignore those kind of comments, because I think they're pretty much, there's an even amount. So it's not like, maybe if it was the case that everyone was just like, "Simon, stop making videos, we like James's better," and that was like like a uniform thing, I'm sure probably that would be pretty disheartening. But thankfully, that's not been the case, so there's nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, and I think that's the base of doing a duo channel. Of course, you can't have one better than the other. You have to work that out, and yeah, see how it goes. So yeah, I think that's something really good for your channel. Okay, well, we have the fourth questions. Are you ever bored of making videos, or you just don't feel like doing it? That you actually make a video just for the sake of making a video and not, yeah.
I'd like to say no, like obviously, because I don't want to say to people that I've sometimes just made a video for the sake of making a video. But like, there are times when I'll get bored of, say, RuneScape, for example. I wouldn't want to play. But I don't know, because me and James, we kind of write out a schedule of what we want to try and get out in a given week, or even sometimes in a given month. And I'll know that, like, say if James had made a couple of videos in the first few days of that week, it might be my sort of responsibility then to make a particular video. And even if I don't want to do it, sometimes I force myself to do it, and it's not the greatest position to be in. But I think the way that we try and do our videos, because we appreciate that there are now quite a lot of people that try and tune in to watch our videos, and we don't want to disappoint them by not having a video out at least sort of every day, or at least when we can. Like, because when I'd feel bad if basically, say if I had a whole evening available to make a video and get it out, if I didn't at least devote some time to trying to make that happen. If I just sort of sat there and thought, oh, I can't be bothered today, I don't know, I do feel a bit of an obligation. But in terms of, I never really just put one out completely for the sake of it. There'll always be some kind of purpose behind the video, whether it's because we want to, if it's not a guide or some kind of one of the series we run, if it might be just an informative thing, if there's been a RuneScape game update, whether we've been told something by like Jagex, if they've posted some kind of important news on their Twitter page or something like that. We'll always have a reason for making a video. Yeah, so we always try and make sure there is a reason. We won't just put out a video just saying, look, I'm playing RuneScape. There will never be something like that, but I don't know, we always try and make sure there is a purpose. But if it ever gets to the point where, like, literally I really don't want to make a video, morally I think I just want to do what makes me happy, and if it gets to the point where it gets really tedious on particular days, maybe I'll make sure that I don't just pump out something for the sake of it, because obviously I don't want to just pump out stuff for the sake of it, because the quality just won't be as good as if you had your heart into it and you actually wanted to make the video.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to hear. Question number 5. Why do you think your channel, and that's obviously you and James, your channel got so successful in just a short amount of time? And yeah, why not with other people?
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting one. Now, a lot of people ask us sort of how do you get subscribers, or how do you get subscribers as quick as we got them, or sort of how do you get as many views and things like that. Now, I think because, like, when me and James looked at YouTube, we did look at it in a very sort of methodical approach. We actually thought, well, we want to try and get a sort of an established channel, and to do that you need people that are going to search for your videos. So we try to think of videos that people would search for, and it's a good tip for anyone that's looking into getting into the YouTube community, because at the end of the day, if you pump out a video, it could be an awesome, like, hilarious gameplay video of you guys doing a particular challenge, or you're having a battle with your friends, and it could be hilarious, but people may not be able to see it just because they wouldn't naturally search for it on YouTube. So that's why a lot of the first few videos that we did were guides and things. And a great way to get subs really is to do stuff on recent game content that gets published, and that's where we started off. So I think when we first started, we didn't have any subscribers on this channel. It was a brand new channel. But we did, James had his channel that we had a long time ago when he was making the vids on his own, and he did say he's going to stop producing content on there, but you could come and check out this channel. We'd both be making content. So we already had a couple of hundred subscribers, which I guess helps, and getting the first couple of hundred can always be a problem for some. But from there, it was kind of just, I want to say it's luck, but I guess it was all about timing, really. A lot of our subscribers came from stuff like the Herbal Habitat. I managed to get a guide out on that very quickly, and the speed really does help when it comes to YouTube. It's like we try and cover the updates as quickly as possible, because we covered the Herbal Habitat update and I had a guide out within 5 hours, and we got ranked #1 in YouTube for that. And even that video today now has got about 50,000 views, which, considering at the time we had 500 subscribers maybe, or less. So if you think about it that way, like, to get 50,000 views even over time on a video like that is quite impressive. So things like that got the ball rolling. We got up to about 1,000 subscribers over the next couple of weeks. But then our real sort of big break, I guess you could imagine, was when the next boss came out in January of 2011. And basically when that came out, we were the first to put a video about that on YouTube. And as I said, it comes back down to this the matter of speed. We were the first to get the video out. and James actually managed to get into Nex, and he fought Nex. Unfortunately, I was going to be the first into Nex and make a video, but I died and lost my CLS, which I was always pretty mad
Yeah,
about.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that was frustrating. But basically, it was quite crazy because when James released that video, obviously a lot of people were searching for Nex on YouTube. They wanted to see it. Jagex had released the name of the boss, and they wanted to see what level it was and things like that. So had a lot of searches, and believe it or not, we went in the week, I'd say the week following Next, we went from 1,000 subscribers to 5,000 subscribers,
Wow.
which was quite insane because on the day of release, it was literally at the point where like, I'd refresh the YouTube settings or page, like where it says your subscriber count, and it'd go up like by 5, by 10, and it was really quite crazy, and it was quite overwhelming really because obviously you just never expect it. And I think it just goes to show that if you get a video that people want to watch, then they will watch it and they will subscribe. So I think it is a good testament to sort of being able to get a video out on a particular update or things like that. And a lot of people, as I said, if they make sort of gameplay videos and things, and they could, as I said, be the best videos in the world. But unfortunately, if there aren't any sort of keywords and things in the title that people would search for, you may not get found out unless by word of mouth. And word of mouth is a crucial thing. It really does help in game. People talk about various videos and things, but obviously you've got to have a way that people can search your videos on YouTube, and that was kind of our big break, as it were. From then on, it was kind of slow, steady progress. We've had various days where we've had a lot of subscribers or things like that, and they've all really been just from days where there's an update in the game, just because people will search it on that day. And luckily now we rank quite high when we release a video because of the amount of views we get, which is all down to subscribers that we have, which is really nice, and we like appreciate when people give us thumbs up and things. It helps with ranking. But it doesn't mean that just because we may post a video that other people can't get noticed. There were other people for us when we were posting videos that would have higher views than us, that rank better than us, and we still managed to get spotted out of the pack, as it were. And we went from there. And obviously, I think today we're on I think it's about 64,000 subscribers, which is just phenomenal. Like the pace of the growth is quite amazing.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
it does vary a lot. Like for example, there were days when I don't know whether you know, but we had a sub box issue for about 6 weeks
Yeah.
before Christmas, where literally all of our videos, they would upload and we could fully render them, everything was fine, and then it just literally wouldn't publish to the sub boxes, which was really tedious because it just meant that all our subscribers wouldn't see our videos in their sub boxes, and that kind of like that, I could say that could hamper our growth. Not that I want to sound like we were desperate to get subscribers, but it is nice when your channel's growing, and it's nice to, it's more of a, like when your channel's growing, you sort of know that you're doing something right, as in people are liking your content and that kind of thing. So it's more of a feedback tool when you know you're getting subscribers. And at the time we were getting quite low counts, but now, like in the last week, we've gained a lot of subscribers, and I don't particularly know why, but I'm happy that it's the case, obviously, because it's always nice to have new people on the channel. We always get really interesting comments and things from people, so
Yeah.
it's always great.
Well, of course, you just made a new series. Well, James did with Born, the Peasant to Revenant, I believe. Yeah, that's the new series. So that might be
Yeah,
a little bit off the case. Like that maybe helped a bit.
absolutely. But yeah, with new series starting up and new videos that are coming out, it always just help. I know some of the videos that have been really well received at the minute that we've had is the teaser images that we're quite fortunate that Jagex have actually agreed to, sort of on the odd occasion, it's not a regular thing, but on the odd occasion they'll send us some teaser images of a future update. It's a similar thing to what they give to the fan sites. So the fan sites get given a couple of teaser images every now and then, and they've said that they'll do the same for us, which is really nice, because it means we can make a video, and we're a big, because we enjoy the game so much, we really like to see the new content coming in, and so being able to sort of have an image that we can look at and discuss, it is always really nice. So that's always good. Then again, there are only a couple of videos, but recently there's been some quite big updates coming out, such as the fight kill, and that's probably people are searching that in YouTube. There's quite a lot of anticipation and hype about that, so I can imagine
Yeah, and of course you
people
being one
people
of the first one to have those teaser images and talking about them, yeah, you have a big advantage over other channels. I can
um
imagine that.
well, yeah, I guess, but then also like a lot of the teaser images that we've got have just been posted on the media page on runescape.com. Like they have a page where they post in-game screenshots, and the first pictures of the new fight kiln area, they were actually we didn't get sent them by Jagex. They were just on the RuneScape page, and we saw them and thought, hey, why not have a bit of a discussion on what we think these could be showing. A lot of them we've actually we made a couple of videos about what we thought looked like adamant dragons, which was getting people quite hyped. Now, looking at them again, it looks like we've kind of been trolled by Jagex there, because we looked at them in a lot of detail afterwards, and it looks like the shape of them is the exact same as steel dragons, and it looks like it could just be a Brimhaven dungeon reformat, which would be really annoying because I'd love to see adamant dragons in the game. And obviously they were clearly green in the picture, and that's why it is a bit of a troll by Jagex, but it could just be a green filter that they had over the screen. I don't really know.
Yeah, well, the entire dungeon is kind of green, green grass and things against the wall, which is all green. Maybe it reflected onto the dragon, some sort of a light effect, which might seem that the dragon is green, but yeah, it might just be
Yeah,
a steel dragon, yeah.
well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I just things like that. That does annoy me to some extent. The fact that in theory we could just be getting completely trolled, because obviously Jagex would have known by releasing that people would assume it's adamant dragons, because it's so obviously like a clear green color. There's no debate in it that it is green, and so I don't know why they would do that, because they would in theory annoy a lot of people. If they now would just release a Brimhaven dungeon update and don't release anything like adamant dragons, I'll probably be quite annoyed. But it's partly just because it's made me look like I've gone and told, say, like however many views that video's got, about 50,000. I've gone and told 50,000 people that the adamant dragons are coming into the game, and I don't really want to look like a liar, but it's going to look that way because it may not be the case. But I don't know. We'll have to see with things like that.
No, most people probably know that you're looking at those teaser images and you're just debating like what could it be, and it's not like this is gonna be it, or this update is gonna come out. It's just some sort of, yeah, your opinion, what you think is gonna be. So it's not, you didn't tell 50,000 people about adamant dragons. You told
Yeah.
50,000 people that you think adamant dragons are gonna come out. So
Yeah, exactly. So I guess people can always interpret it themselves, and we do try and ask. One of the great things is was always looking at the comments that people post and things on all our videos. Just like people have suggestions for the game and suggestions of what we can do, and there's always loads of really interesting things. Now, obviously, like on some videos we get 1,000 comments, and it might be really tough to read through them. And people often have the conception that we don't like read through them, which we do wherever possible. We do try and read through as many comments as we can. Often, like we'll always read the top-rated comments and things, because they're generally the ones that people want. If it's a question, people want to see it answered and things like that. And it's really nice to be able to sort of get people's input on what they think, and hopefully, like sometimes as well, when they say, "Oh, we really want to see more teaser images," we can try and relay that to Jagex somehow. Whether we'll just post them a little tweet or something on Twitter, and we'll say, any chance we could get a teaser image or something like that, and I don't know, probably may not get a response, but who knows. If people want to see it, then I'm sure Jagex are more than interested, because I know that Jagex are actually going to be doing a sort of a bit of a reform on their YouTube channel. They're trying to promote things a bit more. They've released a couple of videos recently, like they released the fight kiln advertisement, and they do appreciate now that there is actually quite a large community on RuneScape on YouTube, and so I think that they are looking more into that, and I think it's going to be a good sort of expansion into the future, into the YouTube community as a whole.
yeah. Well, we kind of a little bit went off topic there.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a bit off topic. I apologise for that. I do have a tendency to do that. I've been told that a lot. I have a tendency to ramble on and drift from topics. I do
You know what?
apologise.
You know what I really think also with podcasts and stuff like that, it's just something I think, and I get a lot of other people who think the same thing. You rambling on is, I think no one really has a problem with that. I mean, most people say like make those podcasts longer. I mean, yeah, people like you rambling. They like just listening to you for like a couple of hours, just telling what's on your mind. Nah, I really think that. So next time when you're doing a podcast, just don't hold back. Just go all the way out. Just make a 24-hour podcast and just upload. I think no one has a problem
Oh,
with that.
yeah. The problem
Well,
with that is it's like we always have things where when we made our first 1 hour long podcast, it was like we had a lot of comments saying, "Oh, this is great. Please make them longer." And we always have things saying, "Oh, please make them longer," which we'd kind of love to do in one sense. But then also we have some that say, "Oh my God, a 1 hour video, not watching this," and that's kind of like annoying. So we don't want to have videos that are so long that people don't want to watch them. Even though podcasts aren't designed to be watched, they're designed to be listened to, but I don't think people always understand that point. But also, like with things like the podcast, like when you have a 1 hour long video, the file size can get quite overwhelming.
yeah, I've
So,
noticed that as well. Like I'm making videos myself, of course, and my videos are getting longer and longer as well. And you can definitely notice that for the rendering time, the upload time. And I don't have the best computer, so don't know
yeah,
how that is with you. But I don't have the ultimate computer, so yeah, that does take a lot of time. And
yeah, like it
yeah,
is one thing that people underestimate. Like for anyone that's ever interested in getting into YouTube, you don't need a brilliant PC, but it does help. Like I know I haven't got the best PC by a long stretch. It's like my PC's over 2 years old now. But when I bought it, it was a good PC when I bought it, so it's still pretty decent, and that helps me with rendering videos. Like for people that just have like a standard PC, it may be tough, but um, either way, we obviously like with the YouTube community, I definitely like to see more video makers out there. Some people have some really cool ideas and produce some good stuff, so don't hold back if you're ever wondering like on a PC is it good enough? Just give it a go. Try and record. If it lags, it lags, and if it doesn't, then you should be up for a good one there.
and
So
that was the ultimate advice of Simon from Runeshark. Who
yeah,
no.
just yeah, give it a go.
Okay, you ready for the next question?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, number 6. Do you and James ever fight, either over RS or over IRL stuff? And I'm not talking about just like, you're stupid, no, you're stupid, no, just like a big fight, like, which may interfere
I,
with your videos, like that.
I assume you don't mean a physical fight,
No, 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 not like
not
you're
a punch up or
no,
anything.
no, 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 but,
Yeah, no, we've actually had this one a lot. Like we run when we run the Friday fan mail kind of thing we do, where we give people an opportunity to ask us some questions. Like we had one that people say like, "Do you ever fight?" And we were kind of reluctant to answer it in one sense, but then I guess to be fair, it seems odd me saying this without James here, but I guess like when you say, "Do you ever fight?" I'd say we have our disagreements at times, which people wouldn't expect. Like, I'm sure there are things that we do disagree on. Like I know there's always points that I'll think one sort of way, and if we're thinking about making a video, I'll think we should make it one way. James thinks we should make it another way. Sometimes we don't agree, but I think that's a part of life. People don't always agree, and I think it's good because if we have differing opinions on things, it helps with there being two of us because we'll have different opinions, and often it leads to making like a better solution. So if I have an opinion that I think is right and then James has one that he thinks is right, he can sometimes explain to me why he thinks it's right, and I'll sort of then understand it and sort of we'll compromise on a certain thing. And in terms of genuine fights over RS, I don't know, I wouldn't say there's been any major quarrels. I'd say, I don't know, sometimes James has a very like short temper at times, and he can when we're doing bossing or something, sometimes he just gets angry and tabs if he's not getting loot or something, and that can sometimes annoy me. I guess I don't know, but that's just a personal thing for me, and that's it. Like as small as it gets, really. It's not. There's nothing ever major we've fallen out over. That's for sure. Over IRL stuff as well. There's nothing really major that I'd ever say we like have quarrels over. Obviously there's always some things that we probably wouldn't mention or whatever that might happen and just be sort of annoyed at one or the other. But I don't know, I think overall, because the fact that like I'm sure you have it when you've got some really close friends, and it's just like even if there is a quarrel, a small little argument, you can kind of brush over it very easily and just forget about the whole thing, because at the end of the day, what's the point in jeopardizing a friendship over a small little argument?
yeah.
So we was trying to avoid things like that, I think.
Okay, that's good. I think that also benefits your YouTube channel, of course. Yeah. So, question number 7. Where did the name RuneShark come from?
So I guess this is quite a quick one to answer really because we've mentioned it a couple of times before, but I know that there's probably a lot of people that don't know. It was basically when we were trying to think of a name for a fan site, obviously because as I said, the whole idea of this sort of YouTube channel grew from being a fan site because we wanted to make a fan site that instead of just being written guides, we wanted to be the first fan site that incorporated video guides on every single written guide. There were a couple that started to make a couple of video guides, and we wanted to be sort of the one that made video guides. So that was our sort of fan site idea. And like when you look for a name for a fan site, we wanted to have something that was a bit catchy, but nothing that was so like far-fetched or sort of far from the field that no one would really relate it to RuneScape. So we looked at the names. There was obviously, I don't want to go out and name them all, but obviously everyone knows there's things like Rune HQ. There's like Rune. We looked at there's Rune Tower, Rune Slayer, and there was loads of these things that always had Rune in, and they're quite catchy, and obviously it instantly relates to RuneScape, and that's why we wanted. We wanted to relate it to RuneScape. So we thought we'll have Rune in the title, and then we were trying to think of a second word to go with it. Eventually, I think we came up with the name Runeshark. I think that sort of came up. I don't know why that came up in particular. Literally, we were just sort of brainstorming in a room to the one very similar to I'm in now. It's actually when James was in his first year. I was visiting and wishing his hall as a resident. We were just sort of thinking about ideas. And literally, as soon as he said Runeshark, I don't know why, just something triggered in my mind. I just said Runeshark. It sounded catchy, and I think the reason why we went for it is because I know because we do sort of various. We're economists really, so we know sort of things like business strategy, and we thought, well, if we want people to try and remember our name, we want something catchy, something that you could probably have like a logo or an icon for. And we thought, well, if it's a shark, then you could have a picture of a shark somewhere, or you'd have some kind of like sort of bold statement, and people would remember it. So I think that was kind of where that where that was decided upon, and sort of the reasons why we picked that as a name. So it wasn't just necessarily because it sounded cool, but also because we thought we need a catchy name so people sort of remember it and have that sort of thing going on. So we settled on Runeshark, which was obviously that was 18 months ago, I think, and haven't turned back since.
And then you also changed your name, your RS name to Runeshark, both of
Well,
you.
obviously, yeah. Like, luckily, at the time when we decided on it, we did check to see if the RuneScape name was available. Unfortunately, the YouTube name wasn't available of just Runeshark. We probably would have gone for that, but that was actually taken. But we thought, well, we can always get. I think the first account we made an account called Runeshark Media, but there was various YouTube problems with that one, just because YouTube has a tendency to mess up. So we started Runeshark videos, and then we used that as our sort of primary channel. And obviously we've got our sort of our Minecraft channel that we have. Still call it Runeshark Minecraft. So even though we are doing another game, we still like to sort of relate to the fact that we do play RuneScape, and that is our sort of our major channel at the time. And so yeah, I think it's a good name, I think, just because it instantly relates to RuneScape, and obviously the fact that the in-game names are available is always nice. Although saying that, I don't know. Because so many people get us confused in game, it is kind of tedious when people are like, which one's the one with the space? Or sometimes they're like, oh, you're a fake. The real Runeshark has a space in it.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of funny, and it's like I don't know. It seems quite odd that people don't notice that there's two different people on the channel sometimes. But I don't know. It's just like if we could get maybe, well, I don't know whether I'd change my name. Because I'd quite like to change my name to something like just Simon, so people would just recognise it instantly. But obviously the name Simon's taken.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll get James to change his name to James, even though that name's taken as well. But obviously, I don't know. Maybe one day in the future we'll change our names. I know a lot of video makers, they change their names every month. That you can do. They sort of change it back and forth. Who knows? Maybe I'll start if I particularly if I just randomly want to change it for any odd reason, I might change it. But I don't know, I just find it tedious with the name changing, because I always find I have like my friends list in game, even though I can't really, my friends list is actually permanently set to off, which is quite annoying now, because I did like to speak to people in game, but with recording I can't have people's messages coming up, and just in case they contain anything that's shouldn't be on a video. But like I just find that like when I look at my friends list, there'll be people that have changed their name like 3 or 4 times since the last time I saw their name, and so I have no idea who they are, and so the whole name changing thing can be really quite annoying. I always just forget completely who people are.
Yeah, I also have the same thing, and not really with the friend list, but in my friends chat. Of course, people come in my friends chat more as more as I get well known. You know, people come in my friends chat, and people say like, "Well, you didn't recognize me." I'm like, "Okay, you changed your name. How could I know? I don't have you added, so I don't see like last known as the option."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Okay, I don't recognize you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was known as blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember that name." But they got all frustrated and all, yeah,
yeah,
you didn't remember my name. Yeah, I'm sorry, you know. So yeah,
exactly.
I also don't see the point. My last name was, well, my original name is Money Kills. Then I changed my name for a while to Destroy Me, and then I changed it back to Money Kills just to have it as the same as my YouTube channel. And I think I'm gonna keep it this way forever because yeah,
Yeah,
I just like to be recognized not only for my YouTube channel but only in game. You know, they can see the connection between those two, not like, well, his in-game name is Dan, his clan name is Dan, his YouTube name, yeah. So
yeah, exactly. You want sort of a uniform thing, but it's nice to have a clan chat, and we set that to just Runeshark. So on the day of release, we made sure we got that one. We were like, oh crap, hopefully no one takes the name. And we ran and managed to get it just about, and things like that. So it's like it's always nice to keep a uniform name structure. So that's why I probably imagine I'll never change my RSN, because I don't think the name Simon will ever free up. 'Cause I think the guy called Simon, I think he's actually on the front page of the high scores. So
oh yeah, he's not gonna
I think
change his
that
name.
yeah, that's long gone now. I don't think that's ever happening.
Yeah, and
Um,
I probably think the name Simon Runeshark or Runeshark Simon is probably taken as well.
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a lot of variants out there. That's for sure. I always see people, and I remember when we made our we did a magic, what we called a magic massacre event, where we got people to make brand new accounts, and
yeah.
we told them all to call their accounts like RuneShark 123 and things like that. So there's quite a few out there as well, which is quite funny. But that was a great event to see so many people with just various RuneShark names. It was brilliant. But yeah, so I'm sure it would be quite hard for me to change my name. But I don't know. I think we'll leave it as RuneShark just so people can obviously recognise it, so they know who it is when we're making a video and things. Because I know some people block out their RSN so they don't get recognised. But I don't mind if someone comes up to me in game and talks to me and says they like my videos, or even if they say they don't like my videos, I'll happily respond to them when I'm not recording or anything. So yeah, I don't mind in terms of having an RSN being shown or anything like that.
Okay. Question number 8. If Jagex offered you a job to work for RuneScape on RuneScape, would you take it, and why?
Right, that's quite an interesting question because I don't know. I was thinking quite a while ago, like what I'd quite like to do, and I was thinking I should work for Jagex because I've always have like what I think I always have like some pretty interesting ideas of what come into the game and things like that, and how they can improve their game as a whole. In terms of working, like obviously as a career, I don't know whether my career is in game development or design. I don't know. I haven't really thought about my life ambitions sort of career just yet. But in terms of would I ever like to work at sort of RuneScape Studios at Jagex, say temporarily or like for a placement, I would. I think that experience would be really, really good. Not only because obviously you get to work with the game that you sort of well pretty much that I've grown up playing, the game I love, and it's just like, well, it'd be really cool to do that. But also like when you consider that Jagex it's a major game studio. It's obviously well it was British until very recently until it was bought out by some Americans. But it's quite an iconic game studio, and it would be a privilege really to be able to like work there or help out there. So I can imagine if I was ever given the opportunity, I couldn't pass that up. The opportunity to get something like your own piece of game content in game, I'm sure that'd be a goal for anyone really. But I don't know, I think we always have a lot of comments saying that I have some really good ideas of ways to change certain things in game or new game content, and I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting if I was in one of these design meetings that they have, the brainstorms that they have on thinking of new game content. I'd love to sit in on one of those and see what Mod Mark and his team have to say about some new updates. I think that'd be a really interesting experience, and I know James is the same. He'd love to be able to work there. That's for sure.
Okay, that's cool. I think I have the same thing. If I could work at Jagex, I would definitely take it.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Interestingly enough, actually, James actually applied for. I think he applied for a 1 year sort of a gap year placement at Jagex to try and work there. I don't know the result of that, but I think he sent it off. I can't remember exactly whether he sent off the application or not, but he was definitely thinking about it just because they do a 1 year work placement thing for some people, and I think that'd be because it is. It's not just obviously it's not just RuneScape. They have lots of different projects and games, and they are a company as a whole as well. So there's lots of different aspects of the company. It'd be really an interesting company to work at. And I think if you, I think Jagex are quite well known because they've got, they do like various employment ratings around the country in England, and they basically have like the top 100 companies to work at in terms of sort of employee satisfaction and employee like happiness and things. And Jagex always rank near the top of that just because I think Jagex appreciate their staff and they kind of give them rewards where due, and they just have a generally a nice working environment. So I think it would be a very nice sort of job just to go into. Not a very stressful job necessarily, but just something that's a really nice atmosphere and a great place to work.
Okay, question number 9. Don't you think you're gonna, if you're both maxed, or when you're both maxed, RuneScape is gonna be more boring? Like you and James, of course, make videos like Road to Max, Road to Completionist. Of course, you can't do those anymore, and of course, some in-game features won't be available to you anymore.
Um, it's a very good point. It's a lot of like I've noticed we have a lot of sort of maxed friends, and we've got a couple of friends with completionist capes, and they always seem to obviously have a lot more free time on their hands. Let's put it that way, just because they don't have any skills to train in theory. Obviously, some people choose to still train. Obviously, it is a long way to go. I'm a bit closer than James is to getting, say, the max cape, but I know James has been working really hard to get closer, and I don't know. I hope that sometime soon. I hope to be maxed within a couple of months. Or when I say within a couple of months, probably in a couple of months. I'll be pretty close to max. James probably a few months after that, and then it'd be really nice because then we can go out and try and get the completion escape together, doing some dungeons and things like that to get the 120 dungeon. So obviously that's going to be really interesting getting the max cape. But say sort of hypothetically, if we were maxed, obviously I think yeah you're right. There's going to be a lot less sort of game content for us to do. So it won't be a case of all right, I need to log on and train some crafting and then go do some mining. None of that will be involved at all. It would be log on and the only thing that we'd really have to do is go and kill bosses or just go and do something with friends, and obviously there'd be no reason to skill. So obviously that is gonna not necessarily take some enjoyment out of the game, but it would definitely remove some of the motivation to play. But I don't think that's always the worst thing. I think it basically means what you can do is you have more time to do what you want to do in the game. So I know at the minute there's quite a few things that I'd love to do, whether it's just, I don't know, go and obtain a particular item in game, whether it's something I'd have to buy, or whether it's something like one of these non-tradable items that maybe a mini game reward, stuff like that. It's stuff that I'd love to do, but it just takes time. And at the minute, I feel obliged when I'm online to try and skill for things like, say, the minute I need to train, obviously my agility and mining. Like, I'll think when I'm online, I should be training either agility or mining, otherwise I'm wasting my time. So obviously it's not always the best way to think in that sense, and it frustrates me that I do I feel obliged that I have to skill. So I think when we have the completion escapes, it'll be nice because you can log on and just do whatever you want. We're both big fans of boss hunting, and obviously having the best cape in the game is going to help with that. And it just means that when we log on, we can think, well, what do I want to do? And there'll be no obligations, there'll be nothing like that, and we can just go do what we want to do and when we want to do it. And obviously with the completion skip, there'll also be the motivation to do any new game content that comes into the game, because we'll have no, like the minute, say, if a game update came out, I'll be like, well, I want to go try it out, but I've got other things that I need to do for my road to completion. I've got to train on my skills. So once we're maxed, it will just be a case of when a new game update comes out, we can just devote time to go in to do that and working it out and getting a good guide up for people, or depending on what the update is, maybe doing the quests, looking at the rewards, things like that. So I think it will be quite good in the future when we have that.
Yeah.
But again, you are right. There are going to be a lot sort of fewer things that you can do. Obviously, in terms of training, that's going to be something that'll be over. Not that I'd be sad to see it over. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of skilling, but
Now, of
I
course,
guess you're still going to miss it, I guess, in that sense. Like, there's always going to be the fact that when you log on, you may just log on and then think, oh well, I've only got half an hour. I can't exactly do a boss trip anywhere. There's nothing I particularly want to do. So I guess it may mean I play less, but I don't know. I think it might mean I enjoy the time I play a bit more, and I can be a bit more social on the game as well, not worrying necessarily about not wasting XP. So sort of just standing at the bank. I won't mind doing that. I can just stand at the bank and talk to people and do things like that, which would always be nice.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, normally if you have like half an hour, you just grab some bones from the bank, do some prayer, whatever you need to do. And also, like,
Yeah.
of course, if you get maxed out, of course you're gonna do the skills first you find fun. I mean, you are probably more of a PVMer. You like killing stuff, so yeah, you got 19
Yeah.
attack, strength, and defense and stuff first. So now you have the
Yeah.
tedious skills left, like agility and, well, for you, mining. Well, I have 99 mining. I love mining. I don't know why you would hate it, but hey, I love mining. Uh,
Well, I think it's weird because like recently, I used to think I hated mining, but that's because I was obsessed with the fact that I had to get the best XP per hour. So I thought I had to train using the barbarian horn because it is faster, like XP per hour overall. But that kind of, I don't know, the stresses of actually going to charge that horn is just annoying. So I've actually decided now not to use that, and mining's become a bit more not necessarily enjoyable, but I enjoy the fact that it's you don't need to pay much attention. I'd like to say the term AFKable, but I know sort of Jagex frown upon that. They don't want you to AFK skills, but it just means you can watch TV while you play and things, which is always nice to not have to completely focus on the game. So there are some skills that, like, I don't know, I always have this sort of daunting fear. I'm like, agility, it's going to be horrible, but then sometimes I can happily go and do agility for an hour or half an hour at a time, and I don't mind it whatsoever. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm turning into a skiller. I'm still someone that definitely I prefer combat. My first combat, first 99 should I say, with my combat stats. I think first ever 99 was probably strength. Actually, no, it would have been hit points. I think it was probably my first. And all the combat stats after that. Then there was just a few skills, mostly the Bibles. I think one cooking was one of my first 99s, just because it was like that's the I think one everyone really goes for first of all.
yeah, my first one was
It's-
99 cooking as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just that it's one of those things that's so easy. And yeah, like I did go for things that I not necessarily enjoyed, but were just easy, sort of like stuff like farming was something I could just buy. Fortunately, I could buy because I had the money available at the time. Like, I know it's not a cheap skill to train for a lot of people, but other things that I could just buy, such like smithing and fletching and crafting, was always nice. But I don't know. It was obviously I just trained those skills when I was bored, and eventually just trained them up so much. I clearly had a lot of spare time on my hands, and I got 99. So that was always really nice. But I kind of regret that to some extent because now I only have the skills left that I find tedious to train. I think if I'd moderated it out a bit more and done, say, a bit of an easy skill like fletching and then gone and done a sort of a more boring skill like agility, and sort of done it a bit more consistently, then I wouldn't be left with this sort of daunting challenge at the end of trying to do them all at once, all the ones that I dislike. But I don't know. I guess it's a personal choice for anyone training up their account on the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think everyone's always going to try and train the easy ones first and leave the hard ones till last anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think
but
I'm like exactly the opposite of you. You had your first 99s were your combat 99s. I have exactly the other way around. My first 99s were cooking, woodcutting, mining, smithing, yeah, stuff like that. I just can't do more than like 2 hours of combat in a row. Like 2 hours of training attack or doing Slayer. I just can't physically do it. So
yeah, I never really like. I say I never really trained combat as just combat on its own, but I guess I did to some extent. A lot of it was on Slayer, but then also stuff like boss hunting. I got a lot of XP from, which you kind of underestimate because you think, oh well, I'm only killing one creature every couple of minutes, but often there's increased XP rates on those bosses and things. And
yeah.
I know I got a lot of XP. I remember I was doing God Wars dungeon when I was only level 80 or something. Well, not well, level 80 stats, so sort of level about 100 combat, and I got up a lot of skills doing that. But I guess it just depends. Like Slayer is something obviously where I managed to get maxed. You get a lot of XP from doing Slayer, and that was just something I enjoyed at the time because it actually made a lot of money. I don't know why, I'm not necessarily money obsessed, but I always liked to think that like I was trying to build up my bank, and often I had to try and build up my bank because I've been hacked a few times down the line, as I'm sure a lot of people have similar sort of problems with stuff like that. So I always had to like redo my bank, get my bank built up to a sufficient level, and try and get some good gear so I could go bossing with friends and stuff. But I don't know. I think yeah, it was just the way I trained it was just yeah mainly look at combat first and then worry about skilling later. Like if you'd asked me what a year ago would I have ever dreamed of having a completion escape? Well, a year ago I didn't think the completion escape was out, but if you'd asked me, say, upon release of the completion escape, would I ever get 99 rune crafting? I probably would have said no because I never thought I'd go for the cape. But then obviously that all changed, so my attitude towards skilling had to change in order to try and level everything up. So that was just one thing that I had to try and adjust, become a skiller basically. I had to do it. Just one thing I never thought I'd do, but eventually changed.
Okay. Well, are you ready for the last question?
The last question.
The very last one. Okay. If you had the power of Jagex to change, add, or remove 3 things on RuneScape, what would those be and why?
Alright, well, I can tell you right now, number one, this made some people really don't understand why I always say this. I say it quite a lot in a few of my videos, but left-click familiars, and by this I mean, so if, for example, I had a pack yak or a bunyip summoned, if you hover your mouse over it and click, it will basically, in the default option with any familiar is to interact with that familiar, and that just means that basically if I have a pack yak, I talk to my pack yak, and I can't for the life of me, no, I don't understand why this is in the game. I don't know why anybody would want to talk to their pack yak. Like, people have like these pets, and I was like, oh, if you've got a cat and you have a cat speak amulet, you can talk to it, and it's like, but why would you want to do that? Like, I don't understand. Like, I know people have their different ways of playing and people enjoy different things, but stuff like if I had a unicorn summoned, I don't want to talk to my unicorn. I want it to heal me, and that's about it. That's all I want for my unicorn. And the reason it doesn't sound like, you may think this doesn't sound like much of a problem, like fair enough, like some people might want to talk to their pack yak, don't know why, but if you've ever done some serious kind of bossing, or even stuff like Slayer, or say things like Hunter, where you want to have some a familiar like an Arctic bear summon to help you out, then it can become really quite tedious because say for Hunter you're trying to lay a trap, and if your big fat Arctic bear is sitting over where you want to try and lay the trap, you end up just talking to the Arctic bear instead of actually moving to where you want to go, and it was really frustrating, and it can really sort of just demoralize you when you just completely misclick and it just ruins it, and yeah, things generally go wrong. So I don't know, I think in terms of that'd be my number one. Get rid of it. It'd help a lot of stuff like next, where you're trying to avoid the shadow spots and the shadow phase of the next attacks.
Oh yeah, and you start talking to a pack yak or a unicorn, you're like, oh,
yeah,
god damn it.
Either on your own pack yak or someone else's pack yak, you click talk to, and then it will run you onto someone's or your own shadow spot, and it's not, obviously, unless you die. I've never really died to that, but I've come close, and it's just so frustrating. It's something that really just kind of it gyrates on me quite a lot. I'm just like, I get really annoyed by it. As with old sort of high-level bosses, where it was just like you couldn't left-click, you could only right-click. They did the same with familiars, so it was like if you left-click, you just walk through them, but if you right-click, there's still an option to talk to them. It means that if people want to talk to their unicorn, they can, but they just have to right-click to do it. Had a bit of a rant on that one. I'm trying to think of 2 others that I think would be a great improvement to the game. One sort of interesting point, I don't know whether you knew this or who actually knows this, but on the release of the next boss last year in January, the gear that it dropped, obviously not many people had it on the first couple of days of release, but those that did, most people just sold it because you could get quite a lot of money for it on the day.
I thought like 8 build a piece or something, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a lot, and but it actually turned out that if you used that gear in combat, obviously it would degrade to like the 100%, 99%, 98% and things. But then if you repaired it, even if you like completely repaired it, it was untradeable. There was like basically, turns out it was a glitch, and it meant that it wasn't tradable even if you repaired it. See, I thought what they'd done is made the gear like what you'd term sort of bind on use. So once you'd used the armor, it was kind of like fixed to your account. It became untradeable, and it was only tradable if you sort of got the drop, and then you could sell it on before using it. So obviously, if you already had like a Torva plate body, and you got another drop of a Torva plate body, you wouldn't want a second, but you could sell it on or trade it for someone else for maybe their legs, and then you could use them, and that would be sort of bind on use, and that would be fixed to your account. Now, a lot of people complain about this, and it got changed because it was actually a glitch in the end. Because obviously they wanted to try and sell it, they didn't want to lose a lot of money on gear, just buying it, and then if they just wanted to try it out. But I think it's a shame because I think they've missed a trick here, because with the nature of gear, the way people panic sell it, panic buy it, gear fluctuates in price a lot, and I think that's one problem in the game, that people always seem to think, oh crap, my bandos is going down, I need to sell it, and that just forces the price down even further. And then when it goes back up, they're like, oh, we need to buy it back, and then it pushes the price back up. And if you actually look at it, you realise that you're not saving any money or losing any money.
No, it's just the other way around. Yeah, it's like when it goes down, you need to buy it. Like, you know, when it starts going up, then you need to sell it. It's some people don't understand that.
And it's like, if you just held on to it, not only would you not lose any money because it just fluctuates around the same price, but also it's the fact that you're going to be using it. It's like, if you just own it and just use it, then you don't notice. Like, I always, when I bought, say, like when I bought my first set of bandos, I just thought, okay, that's 40 mil. I think it was 40 mil at the time, and I just didn't think I need to make sure I don't lose money on that 40 mil. I just thought, I'm going to invest 40 mil into bandos. I'm going to use it a lot. I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. And I never cared about the price of it. It's the same with things like my Divine. I didn't buy my Divine, I received it as a drop, but it went up to about 1.2 bill when free trade came out. It was quite ridiculous, and I thought, well, it's probably going to go down. Should I just sell it? And I was really debating it, but I just thought, well, I'm going to use it, so I'll just hold on to it. And turns out in the next month or two, it went down by about 500 mil. And that may be considered crazy by a lot of people, just to hang on to it, even though I knew it was going to go down. But I just thought, well, I want to use it, and so I just thought, well, I'm going to keep it. And I think by having a bind on use armor set, I think that would really sort of deter people from just buying armor to then go and sell it again afterwards, obviously, because they couldn't. It wouldn't necessarily stop people like merchers that try and hold on to them, because obviously they could just buy them all and just not wear them, so they don't get locked to their account. But I think it would be quite an interesting thing to have in the game. For example, say the fight kiln that's coming out, if there was some new creatures, they dropped some new armor, and it was just a bind on, either a bind on pickup where it was just untradeable armor, or sort of a bind on use where you could sell it if you wanted to, if you didn't want it, but once you'd used it, it was yours, and it was just fixed to your account. I think that could be quite an interesting mechanic, and I'd love to see that in the game. So I guess that'll be my second one. It seems to be taking quite a lot of time to think of others, really.
No, it's okay.
Obviously, I really enjoy bossing, and so I'd probably try and make sure there's more bosses in the game. But I think one thing I'd probably try and do is in dungeoneering, obviously there's currently 30 bosses in dungeoneering, and I think it's a real shame that you can only kill them within Demonheim. I think it'd be really cool if there was a way that you could battle the bosses of dungeoneering outside of Demonheim.
You mean some sort of Dominion Tower, like...
Well, yeah, like something like that kind of deal where you could basically just fight the bosses of the sort of dungeoneering well, I was about to say activity then, it's obviously a skill. People debate whether it's a skill or a mini game. But I don't know, I think it's the fact that because for someone like a boss lover like me, obviously I've got a limited choice of bosses in the surface world of RuneScape. Like there's the God Wars bosses, there's DKs, things like that. But there's only so many, and in Dungeoneering there's 30 different bosses. They've all got different combat mechanics. They're all quite interesting to fight, and it'd be really cool just to actually go and just take them on instead of having to like labour through a 15-20 minute dungeon just to get to the end of the dungeon and fight the boss once in some kind of makeshift gear. It'd be really interesting just to actually gear up for a proper fight and go and take on like a really high level boss with a couple of friends. And I don't necessarily think they should have them just there, killable, and they have like an awesome drop that it's like better than a set of Torva or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should have an amazing drop. I'm just saying that it'd be great if there was an environment where you could kill them. So say something like the Dominion Tower. I think there's room where they could put dungeoneering bosses in the Dominion Tower. I think that would be really quite a cool sort of way to do things, or like maybe not a separate Dominion Tower, but some kind of like a similar kind of aspect to that, where maybe there's like a challenge dungeon you can do, where you just go into the dungeon and it's like there's just waves, like one after one. It brings out the bosses in order, and you've got to try and get through them all. Like that could be quite interesting. I don't know how they could do it really, but I'd just love to see a mechanic where, because like clearly Jagex have spent a lot of time and effort into creating all of these 30 bosses. Like you underestimate like how many 30 bosses actually is, considering there's only I think it's about 12 or maybe 13 major bosses in RuneScape at the
Yeah,
minute.
it is
So
it is what you consider a boss, but yeah, something like that. There's
exactly.
yeah.
So the fact that they made 30 just for one skill, I think the fact you can only kill them in that skill is quite tedious. So I'd love to see it where you could kill them all around RuneScape, for sure.
Yeah, and not only that, like some people come up to me like, oh my god, I don't know how to do dungeoneering, I hate dungeoneering, can I leech, stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, maybe if there was a chance for people to practice the boss. I mean, there are not many people who know how to do Thunderous. They die like 10 times at Thunderous, they rage quit, they're like, okay,
yeah.
god damn it. But you just have to practice it a bit, and after a few tries, it's really not that hard anymore. So there was a chance that you could practice the dungeoneering boss before actually going in the dungeon, because, of course, if you've done the entire dungeon and then die like 10 times with the boss, you're going to lose massive experience. And that's what most people find annoying. So there was a chance that you could practice the boss just before you go into a new floor. Of course, you need to have unlocked the boss first, but yeah, you can just do that. And I think dungeoneering, most people will also get like more interest in dungeoneering because there are so many people who are like, oh my god, I still have to get another chaotic, or oh, I still have to get 99, I want to get 99, but dungeoneering is so boring. Well, I have 102 dungeoneering right now. I mean, I love dungeoneering. I think it's my favorite skill right now, and that's just because I've done it so much and know how to do it now, and I don't really have any hard bosses anymore. It's just, yeah, nice to do. So I think that's also a benefit for some sort of, as Simon said, some sort of Dominion Tower like activity, so you can practice just like you can practice quest bosses now, dungeoneering bosses.
No, I think that is a good point, because people could do with some practice on some bosses. Not like being harsh to people's dungeoneering skills, but there are a few people that don't know how to kill bosses. Like for example, like myself, I'm 105 dungeoneering, and so like even though like I unlocked a new boss they called the Hope Devourer at 103, and it's like you may think that because I've had like that was 103, that was 2 levels ago, like I should already know exactly how to kill that boss, but in reality, because you get so much, because of the prestige nature of things, I've only actually encountered the Hope Devourer about twice, and it's like in 2 whole levels I've only encountered it twice, and so I don't really know how to fight it.
I'm pretty sure the Hope Devourer is 101 because I can do it.
If I don't know how to fight it, that's going to reflect badly on me. We've had a sort of a situation where you could train on like a lower level version of it. It doesn't necessarily need to be the high level one, because otherwise it would simulate it a bit too much. But if there's like a lower level sort of tame version of it, you can go take it on and just sort of learn its combat styles, learn the sort of special moves, what to look out for. I think it'd be really quite good. I know I could obviously go through some complexity 1 dungeons and complexity sort of maybe like 6 dungeons on a small floor on my own just to practice it. But obviously, like you don't want to waste too much time. That would take quite a while. But I think, yeah, you're right. It'd be good practice for a lot of people, and could make the sort of more people interested in the dungeoneering skill when they can just have some free practice and get better at bossing as a whole. So I think it would be a good improvement.
Yeah, and of course to be able to wear a full primal, because that's impossible right now. You have massive armor in the game and no one can wear it except for like when some sort of glitch happens that you can wear the full set. But oh my god, they need to fix that. Yeah,
a video of it was like someone in full primal. It was ridiculous. But obviously I think one major, like just while we're on the dungeoneering skill, I think one major improvement that I might make to the dungeoneering skill would be to increase the number of binds. Now, a lot of people would say that this would ruin it and make it too easy, having more binds, but I honestly think that things like you should be able to have runes and arrows bound at the same time, because like, luckily I have a hex and a bow, which is obviously something that a lot of people aim for, but I'd love to be able to have, say, something like lore runes bound at the same time. And it's just tedious, the fact that you can't have like magic and range at the same time. They don't want people to have that kind of hybrid nature to them. It seems really odd, because it's like, obviously with melee you just need one weapon, there's no ammo, there's nothing you need, So it's very simple. So you can have a melee mage hybrid, or you can have a melee range hybrid, but you can't have something like a mage range hybrid, which I don't know. I just think it's a bit odd the way that they don't let you have both. And I think it's sort of like small little tweaks like that could really benefit the skill as a whole and make it a lot less annoying for the people that find it annoying. So like the people that say, "Oh, just lost my rapier due to a DC at Bandos or something," then they don't need to worry because they might actually enjoy the skill next time they go back if there was some changes, and they just made it a lot more playable and user-friendly. I think could be a good improvement.
Yeah. So that was pretty much all the questions. We we made quite a ramble, but hey,
Yeah,
whatever.
I do apologise for that. Now I felt like I've talked for ages, and obviously some of them may not have been on the exact topics, but hopefully there was some interesting responses in there. At least I got all the questions answered to
Yeah.
some extent.
Well, at least thanks for coming on my channel. It means a lot, and I hope some people learned something about you that they didn't know before.
No, then absolutely no problem. Thanks for having me on your new series, and I hope it goes well in the future.
I hope it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Who the next guest is going to be, I don't know yet. I hope someone you know as well. And yeah, if you have any questions, anything, or any people you want to see on my channel, just let me know in the comments below. Also some questions you have for certain people, also let me know in the comments below. And I hope to see you guys next video. Goodbye.
See you guys.